This lesson's on 6.4, the percent equation. So we're going to show you a model of the percentage and also the number. You can see what we're looking for as far as the number or percent. In example 1, it asks us the question, what number is 50% of 30? When you have a bar and you have 0% on the top and 100% on the bottom, and since we're looking for 50% of 30, on the bottom we have 0 and 30. Half of that 50% of the 100 means that we would have to find half of the 30 right here. So half of 30 is 15. So the number that we're looking for is 15, because the question is asking us what number is 50% of 30. So half of 30 will give us the 15. In example 2, the question asks 15 is what percent of 75? So similar to example 1, we have the top is 0% to 100%, and on the bottom we have 0, and in this case 75, because we're looking for 15 is what percent. So the bottom number is what we're looking for, and the top number of the percent as well. So when you're given a bar like this, you're trying to figure out is how many times can I divide this evenly? So in the bottom number is 75. What goes into 75 that I can divide evenly? And probably will be 5. So 5 goes into 7 one time and gives me a 2. So 5 goes into 25 5 times. So that gives us 25. So that means if I divide this box up evenly into 5 parts, each of the part will be 15. So let's go ahead and try that out. If I divide this out to 1, 2, 3, 4, that gives us 5 boxes, and each of those 5 boxes are 15. So I have 15, and if I add 15 to 15, that gives me 30. 30 plus 15 gives me 45. 45 plus 15 gives me 60, and then 60 plus 15 gives me 75. So that's evenly spaced out. Now also on the top, I have to think about my percentages. So since I divided the box up into 5 parts, I would have to divide my 100% into 5 parts, and so that gives me 20. So each of these are now 20%. So if that's 20%, this is 40%, 60%, 80%, and then 100%. Question's asking us 15 is what percent of 75? So 15 is right here, and so I can see 15 is 20% of 75. Example 3 asks us what number is 24% of 50? So again, the top number we have is 0%, 100%. On the bottom is 0, and we have is 50 now on that down here. And we're looking for is the 24%. So we're going to try to divide that evenly. And so if I divide it into 5 boxes, we can do 5 boxes. So 50 divided by 5, that means each box is going to be worth 10. So let's go ahead and divide that up with 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. And then top number, since I have to divide the 100 by 5, would be 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%, and then we have 100. So here's our problem, because it's asking us what number is 24%. We don't have a 24% here evenly. So 24 would have to be somewhere around here. This would be the 24%. So we're trying to figure out is what is this number right here. We're going to have to probably put an equation together. The equation is going to look something like this, where we're going to use A is equal to P times W. A represents part of the whole, and P represents percent, W represents the whole. In this case, we're looking for part of the number, so we're leaving that as A. We have 24%, and we have the whole, which is 50. So we're going to go ahead and work that out. So I'm going to change my 24 into a fraction. So we have is 24 over 100 times the 50. And I can simplify. 50 goes into 100 evenly by 2. And so then 2 goes into 24 12 times. 24% of the 50 would be 12. Example 4 is asking us the question 9.5 is what percent of 25? So again, our same setup for the bar. We have a 0% on the top to 100%. 0 and our whole is 25. And so now we have to decide how we're going to divide this up evenly. And we'll probably divide it up by 5 because that's going to go in evenly 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay, so each of them is going to be worth a 5 value. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, and then 25. Then 100 is divided up to 5 spaces. So that's going to be a value of 20% each of those. 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%. And so then we're asked the question, 9.5 is what percent? So 9.5 would be somewhere around here, and we're looking for is the percentage of that. We would have to put an equation together because it does not come out evenly. So I have as A is equal to P times W. Our A is 9.5. Since we know that partial value, we don't know is the percent. So I'm going to go ahead and put percent, and 25 is my whole. So I want to get percent by itself, so we're going to divide by 25 on both sides. Divide by 25. P percent is equal to 9.5 over 25, and we'll have to calculate that out to see what that comes out to be. So 25 goes into 95 3 times with a 75, and then we introduce our 0. So 25 goes into 200 8 times. 200. So now we have is 0.38, but remember that's a decimal and we want to go into percentage, so we got to move 2 place values over. So that's 1, 2, so that gives us 38%. So looking at the model right here, we have is 38%. So that is what 9.5 is. The value is less than 40, so that gives us 38%.